Welcome to Om Times TV, a division of Om Times Media and Broadcasting. Welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa Caprio. Do you believe in magic? What if you were told that all you had to do was get a little creative and work a magic spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Here on Postcards to the Universe, we will share manifesting, tips, postcards, creativity, abundance, and prosperity. Here's your host, Melissa Caprio.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, creating the life you crave. How are you guys doing today? It's Wednesday. I hope everybody's doing well. It's my favorite day of the week because I always have the most interesting guests. And today I have psychic medium Dallisa Hocking with me, and she's going to join me in just a minute or two. I wanted to say welcome to all of my regulars who join me every week. Thank you so much. And I know you're listening and watching because I'm getting messages, and it makes me so happy that you're here with me every week, or you're watching me on a replay. We're streaming live. If you're here on January 21st, we're streaming live right now, 4 p.m. Eastern time. If not, and you're watching me on a replay, I really appreciate it. A little bit about me. I'm a photographer. I'm an author. You could see my book above my head, Postcards to the Universe, Harness the Universe's Power and Manifest Your Dreams. And I make them, but I also have people make them, manifesting postcards, kind of like a vision board, a little mini one. They send it to me and I photograph it. And when their story shows up in their reality, those are the stories that are in my book. And what I did was I created an oracle deck. So I do readings now every day. They're about 3 minutes. They're on all social media, YouTube. So especially YouTube. I would love it if you would come over on YouTube and watch my videos and subscribe and like. I'm really trying to build the channel. That's what I'm working on this year. And I'm also going to eventually publish those for sale. But they are photographs of the manifesting postcards that I received, and I make them like a daily affirmation, because I'm always about raising the frequency of what's going on in the world. Everything is a mirror back to us. So I want my mirror back to me in my life to be what's in my heart. And what's in my heart is doing daily practices of meditation, reading oracle. I've learned to read the tarot. I do tarot readings and I do short inspirational talks. So I would love it if you would go on Postcards to the Universe on YouTube and subscribe and like and join me over there. Ask any questions you want. And twice a month, the first and third Wednesday of the month, I have my show, Creating the Life You Crave. And today I have Dallisa Hocking, and she is a 5th-generation psychic medium renowned for her bold and uncanny accurate predictions about global events. Welcome, Dallisa. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to talk to you.
Oh, Melissa, we're going to have quite the conversation. So
Good. We need to. So I'm going to let you tell everybody about you and how you got into this kind of work. I'm sure it's an incredible story that you're a 5th-generation psychic medium. So obviously it runs in the family, in the bloodline, in the family. So yeah, share with us.
Yeah, I did not answer an ad on Craigslist for this job. This was not in my life plans, but here we are. And as we were discussing backstage, a lot of us probably didn't grow up thinking I'm going to be a psychic or a medium or talk to people that have passed away. So I was actually a dating coach and a matchmaker, and I own my own company. And I'll take you back to 2015 when this all happened. So I was running that company and I was working at a business school in Texas. And I thought at the last minute, you know what? There's a retreat at the Omega Institute in New York that I have, it's a workshop on synchronicity, how everything happens for a reason. I'm like, I got to go. I got to be there. So last minute, I booked the ticket. I get up there. And it was led by Dr. Evan Alexander, the neurosurgeon.
I know Evan Alexander. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and Suzanne Giesman was there too. So, and she's a medium and written books. And so anyway, I go to this retreat and all these different synchronicities happen while I'm there. But the last night of my trip, a friend of mine just so happened to have a house in the middle of nowhere, frankly, in New York, and said, why don't you just come over and we'll catch up? So I go over to his house and we're eating dinner and watching a movie, and the phone rings. And a family member had called to let him know that his aunt that he loved so much had died unexpectedly that day. She had fallen down a flight of stairs.
Oh, wow.
So I, give him my condolences. I felt so bad. I go over to the guest bedroom and I go to sleep. Well, while I was asleep that night in the astral dream state, Aunt Barbara, who I didn't know, never met, comes through. I could see her.
Wow.
And telepathically, she asked me to tell her nephew that she was okay and that she had made it to the other side.
Wow.
Wake up the next morning, go out to the kitchen, deliver the message to Peter. I describe what she looks like. And that's where it all started. Because I always thought this was just some of the gifts that were available to some people, or on my dad's side of the family, my grandmother, my great-great-grandmother. But I never thought that I was going to be doing this. Like, here I am talking about predictions and connecting with the other side all the time.
I love it. So it's the women on your dad's side of the family. It's the women. Interesting. Yeah, I do notice it seems to be more women that I'm finding that I'm meeting. Not saying that men aren't able to, but I don't know if it's just our makeup, that we're more open, we're more empathic, I don't know why, but it just seems like the women, I see it more with women than I see it with men. So it's interesting that you got it. So did your grandmother ever talk to you about her experiences? Or was that like closed door stuff? Like, we don't talk about it. We just know grandma has it and, her mother had it. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Yeah, we talked about it all the time. And
cool.
Yeah, I would sit in her living room at her house and she would tell me, she would call it her ESP, and her nickname for me was Lisi. So she would say, Lisi, I have an ESP. I'm like, well, tell me, what is it? So we would often talk about that. And then she could actually see full body apparitions with her physical eyes.
Wow.
So she could describe what they look like, what clothes they were wearing, what color the clothes were. And as she told me, her grandmother would do the same thing at the farm that they lived on. And she would see her husband out working in the field, and he'd come in for dinner, and she would tell him which spirit was working the farm with him that day. So, we openly discussed it. So I was interested in all the spiritual topics. I remember there was one time when I was young, and she said, I'm getting ESP. I think you're going to need a stage name one day. And, I was so much younger. I was taking tap. Am I going to be a famous tap dancer? I doubt it. Right. So, am I going to, I was doing acting and plays and stuff. So anyway, she's like, I think you should call yourself Dallisa Del Rey. I was like, oh, that's so pretty. So she's like, you should practice signing your name. And I remember all this. Right.
Wow.
So then years later, I was living in Las Vegas, and a haunted hotel had reached out and asked if I wanted to work with, when they had news stations and reporters come in, would I, do readings of the haunted rooms and things. And then it turned into, well, do you want to have your own stage show at our haunted hotel? I was like, absolutely. Fun. So I ended up doing it, and then I called my production company Del Rey Productions in honor of that prediction that she had made all those years before.
So fascinating. So when you had your first experience, I feel like your angels kind of made sure that you got there because you were supposed to be there so that you would have this experience. Your spirit guides, whatever, are guiding you. You're I have to go for whatever reason. You knew you had to go. Since you had that first one, did it all of a sudden just start coming to you like that? Or was it a while and then another one happened? How did that manifest for you?
We were off to the races. It was no
So
going
once
back.
the door opened, it was wide open. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
to the point where I decided to dissolve the dating and matchmaking company.
Okay.
I quit my job and
Yeah.
I moved back to Las Vegas for a second time because I thought, okay, if people are going to be interested in readings,
Yeah.
Las Vegas is probably a good city to do it in.
Yeah.
And my family was there. So I was like, if I failed miserably, at least I know I'd have a roof and like a hot meal
Right.
available.
Right.
But yeah, no, it was from the jump. So even on the flight home from New York to Texas, my mind was just spiraling.
Wow.
And so I decided that the first thing that I would do is do a kind of a beta test. So
Okay.
I had reached out to several people that I knew but didn't know what was happening in their life at that time.
Right.
Because social media makes it so easy to do that. So
Yeah.
I reached out to some folks and said, I've had this happen to me. I would love to channel on your energy and just see what comes up. Are you open to it? And then I would get their yes. I would listen to binaural beats, specifically a company that Dr. Alexander is and Karen, it's called Sacred Acoustics. So, and I don't even think ever heard the story that it all originated at that one retreat.
Wow.
But anyway, I got back to Texas, put the Sacred Acoustics meditation on, and I would just write the first name of the person. And I would listen to that, close my eyes, and just feel, see, hear, sense everything. And I would just start writing it down without second guessing any of it. I would just put it all down on the piece of paper. Then I would get on the phone with them. And I'd say, don't tell me anything about what's happening with you right now. Let me get through all of my notes. And then I want your feedback because this is a beta test. I want to see if I'm able to replicate this. And they were like, how do you know that? Nobody knows that about me. Okay, wow. All right. So that's where it started. And then over the years, just did different, certification classes and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's been a full decade of making predictions and communicating with spirit.
So that's what I was going to ask you. So you're psychically connected, and then you're also a medium, because not all psychics are mediums and not all mediums are psychics. So you can do both. Now, when you are doing a mediumship, what does that look like? Are you hearing? Are you getting pictures? Are you because I know for everybody it's different.
Yeah, and great question, because I think people may assume that psychics and mediums are kind of one and the same. But in my experience, mediumship is actually a higher frequency. We have to get amplify it higher.
Yeah, you have to raise up to meet where they are, because they're no longer in body, so they can't be as dense anymore. We're so dense, so you have to be able to go to that frequency. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I see it clairvoyantly first, and usually the person will show up in front of me, usually about a few feet off the floor.
Okay.
And so I'll be able to sense their energy. And then it's more that I'll be getting imagery and symbols, like playing Pictionary. And then I'll hear words and phrases. So I've done a lot of mediumship over the years. One of my more memorable ones was years ago in Las Vegas. And a woman comes in to see me. I was working out of the back of a spiritual center. And sits down and she goes, yeah, I found you on Instagram. I was like, oh, okay, thank you. I don't know anything. I'm just sitting there tuning in. And I have chills even as I start to think about it. I started seeing the mass shooting that happened at the concert in Las Vegas.
In Vegas. Oh, wow.
And yeah, I have chills going through my whole body right now.
Yeah.
And she had come in specifically because she wanted to see if her friend was okay, because he got shot and killed at the concert. And I was seeing all of these visions that he was having me look at, of like, here I was helping this person and this person. I was doing my best to help everybody that I could, and I got taken out while I was trying to help people. And, he brought through information about himself so that she knew that it really was him coming through. But I had no intention or idea that I was going to communicate with somebody that had been at the, biggest shooting in modern history. And I remember crying all the way home.
Oh yeah.
It's
gotta be a lot.
It hits you in a way that it just sticks with you for years. And there are, stories like that and different premonitions that I've gotten that just are sticky and you hold on to them for a long time.
Well, I can't imagine how you wouldn't. You'd have to come up with some kind of rituals to sort of not allow it to stick with you, because if you're sensitive at all, just watching the news sticks with you, right? So if you're actually having this like visceral reaction to something that you weren't even a part of, because you can channel now to do that, it has to be a lot on you. Like you have to like really like, so do you close the door? Do you say like the door shut, like don't bother me right now? Because I imagine you'd get bothered all the time.
Yeah, I say only bring something through outside of working time if it's something I absolutely need to know.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they have.
Yeah, because you don't want to be like in the shower or like being intimate with a partner and then somebody's like standing up. Like that's how my mind works. Like, like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Like, no, now's not the time, right? Yeah.
Yes. So it's usually when I've said, okay, we're ready to work, let's go. And I set that intention and open the door.
And it opens the door. Yeah, that makes sense.
But psychic information will drop in. Psychically, like if there's something they're trying to warn me about, I try to keep that to when I want to do that kind of work as well. Yeah. Otherwise, like you're just turned on, psychically when you go into a restaurant or a concert or whatever, and it's just way too much. But yeah, they'll drop in different things that I need to know, especially if it has to do with like warning me about something.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Have you gotten any predictions that had come true? We'll talk about something that's already happened, and then we could talk about maybe if you feel comfortable, and I don't know, you may get some predictions that are scary that you don't want to share, and I respect that. But like something that you had a prediction about and then did happen.
Yes, there's one that comes to mind. Just over about a year ago, actually, I had a dream that there was a crash and I could see a helicopter and an airplane. And I woke up the next morning and I got the message to download, make a video, because I do a lot of 60-second reels.
Okay.
So they said, make a reel, my spirit team of angels and guides and ancestors. I'm like, okay. I'm in my pajamas, no makeup on. And I talk about how I saw this crash and this airplane, this helicopter. And anybody can go back on my Instagram last January and find it. My pajamas are like pink and white. So you'll find it. But then tragically, a couple of days later was the helicopter airplane crash in Washington, D.C. So that was one that people had watched the video when I put it out, and then it happened. And then they go, oh my God, and remembered the reel and actually went back to the reel and were commenting about how I had predicted it. So yeah, I think spirit does that sometimes so that we do say it out loud so that people can hear it, knowing it's going to happen. And maybe there wasn't anything that could have prevented that. Maybe that was something having to do with the soul contract or, there's a lot of different
I was going to ask you if you got any messaging in the vision, like why it happened, or was one pilot at fault? Was it like, was it purposeful, or you didn't get that? You just saw the crash.
Well, the weird thing was, because nobody really talks about that anymore.
I know.
At all.
I noticed that.
In the dream, I could see a red laser. And I'm having chills as I say that, which is part of my confirmation. So it makes me feel like going back to a year ago that there was someone at fault for it. But it felt like the laser was coming out of the helicopter. And I, of course, don't want to, victim blame or anything like that.
No, of course.
But it was weird when I had seen it in the dream, and then to see all the news headlines come out and people talking about it and searching for survivors on TV.
Yeah.
I'm like, something about this isn't the whole story. Like it felt like there was some kind of, I don't know helicopters at all to save my life, but maybe somebody in the comments will know what a laser off of a helicopter would be and how that would align with this crash. But I think Spirit wants us to say some of these things out loud because it proves to people that we really do have these gifts and abilities.
Yeah,
and not just us, but like they have them too.
Yeah.
And so when they go, oh my gosh, you got that right. It's like, yeah, but we could get so many other things right if we all like tuned into our own intuition and abilities, because we were all born with them.
I think that's where we're going. And I think that's why more of these conversations are happening. More YouTube people that I follow are very open about the experiences that they have. You know, that whole telepathy tapes podcast is just phenomenal and just took off. And I think we are moving, like that is our next big jump in our evolution to back to where people are going to be more telepathic, where we are going to be more psychically connected, because those are coming online. You know, I think everything's coming online. So it makes sense that, like, if somebody who maybe is cynical saying, well, why did she make a video about it? Because, you know, there's always those people, because we're showing you that it's happening. It is real. So to have the evidence, because people need evidence still, right? You know, people don't believe you if you said, oh yeah, I know for sure, you know, I'm telepathic, I could read so-and-so's mind. They'd be like, yeah, right, sure you are. You know, you have to prove it, right? We have to prove it. So that's what I think's happening.
Yeah. I agree. I've been predicting a rise in consciousness where telepathy will be actually more of a method of communication between all people. And
I've heard that.
Yeah, that, you know, because sometimes we'll feel like, oh yeah, I think, you know, my friend's gonna call me, and then they call you that night. You know, but I think that's just going to be amplified. But I do think I'm hearing in my ear right now psychically that people will have to opt into that. Just almost like they have to say like, yeah, I'm okay having that ability and using telepathy. So I think there could still be kind of somewhat of a split between people as we continue to move forward.
Because some people are going to be like, I want my thoughts to be private. Right. So maybe we'll be able, you know, I mean, I don't know if this will be in my lifetime, but in the future, you'll have a turn on and a turn off, you know, like, okay, right now my thoughts are private. So, you know, I don't want people to be able to read my mind and everything I'm thinking all the time, you know, because that does feel like you don't get to have any privacy. So that would have to be figured out. Right. Yeah. That's so interesting though.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the YouTube channel, The Y-Files?
No, but I will definitely check. I will check it out.
Oh my gosh, the Y-Files. Okay, so he is brilliant. AJ is the one who does the videos. One of the videos that like still haunts me that he put out was basically that all of the data from everything, everywhere, all becomes public. And he talks about like real things that he investigates.
Okay.
But seeing that, like the opt-in, opt-out, and like my thoughts are available or not available, reminded me of that video, because I watched it and thought to myself, there will be absolutely no privacy in the future. And basically, paraphrasing his episode, like a supercomputer cracks all of the codes and all the passwords and has access to everything and does whatever it wants with it. And basically think about that, and like all the information that you have about yourself stored in all these different places, and text messages you've sent and emails you've sent. And if everything got exposed, I mean, if we were all in it together, we'd have to figure out how to manage that. But
you would have to, there would have to be some spiritual protections on, like you said, like you got they would have to opt in. I kind of feel like that is, you'd have to opt in because we have free will, right? So if we don't want that, then we would have to be able to opt into what is allowed and what isn't allowed as we're having this human experience. I don't know what happens on the other side. I don't remember, I'll remember again when I'm, there again, like, because from people who have had near-death experiences, they say they know everything all at once, like from all their loved ones, like everything, or they'll have a life review in a flash. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how things are happening. It's fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. We're living in unprecedented times. I think we all know that, and we can feel that. And spirits often referred to it as the dismantling, right? So
yeah.
we're in it.
Right.
But I don't think we're anywhere near the finish line of the dismantling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of the reason why some of us wanted to incarnate right now, is so we could witness the dismantling.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think a big reason was that we wanted to be a part of the rebuild and what's coming next after the dismantling.
Yeah.
But the headlines can absolutely look really bad. But I say all of this because I think there's a lot of people that can feel fearful when they catch different predictions or headlines. But I've been shown over and over again, like, we eventually get to the other side of this while we're still alive, and that we will be able to really create new systems, but that every system is up for either a negotiation or complete collapse and death.
Yeah. We're seeing it. And I don't know if you are familiar with astrology at all, or if you follow astrology.
Oh, yeah.
The astrologers are saying the same thing, like all of the outer planets, the slower moving planets are moving into new signs, and that is being witnessed also in a global way, which I find like super interesting. So everything is kind of like going along the way that it's supposed to go. So that's why I do my short little videos every day too, is to try to be uplifting, because I am not going to be living in fear. And on that note, let's take our break here, and then we'll come back, and I have so many more questions for you. All right, everybody, stay tuned, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Om Times TV, a division of Om Times Media and Broadcasting.
Do you have a dream that feels just out of reach? What if you could send a message to the universe and watch it come true? Hi, I'm Melissa Caprio, creator of the Postcards to the Universe project. For years, people from all over the world have sent me their dreams on a simple postcard, and I've seen incredible things happen. Postcards to the Universe, harness the universe's power and manifest your dreams, gives you the tools to create a life you love. Learn how to turn your biggest desires into a clear, powerful message the universe can hear. It's time to stop waiting and start creating. Discover your power to bring your dreams to life. This isn't just a book, it's an experience. Discover your purpose, unlock your potential, and manifest your wildest dreams. Find Postcards to the Universe by me, Melissa Caprio, wherever books are sold. Get your copy today. Start writing your story, one postcard at a time.
Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Om Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Om Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Om Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Om Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Om Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Om Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes.
Hi, welcome back. If you're just joining me, I have psychic medium Dallisa Hocking with me, and we're talking about all of these metaphysical woo-woo things that I love to talk about so much. So let's talk a little bit more about, you're pretty good with your accurate predictions and insights. So do you want to share anything that you see maybe that we should be paying attention for? And this isn't to scare anybody, we're not, the world is not ending in 2026. I am comfortable saying that. Okay. So we're going to be okay. I know it's hard, but we're going to be okay. But anything like that you want to share that you see maybe coming up this year?
Yes. And I love that you preface it with like, let's not be afraid. Like,
Right.
we're going to get through this. There have been predictions I've been seeing and making around the presidency of the United States, which I know is a hot button issue that I'm stepping directly into.
Okay.
Because I am politically neutral, but I can't help but see things around the office of that. And
okay.
yeah, that one of the predictions is that he won't finish his term. And that the office itself of like what it has power over is going to be changing as well. And this dovetails into predictions I've been seeing about states being rewritten, meaning like when you look at the United States and a map in the future, the lines are not going to be the same. So it does feel like some of these states that are talking about leaving the union or forming a bigger state by taking other parts of states and kind of making a bigger one, that does feel like it has validity to it. Because I will just ask a question to spirit and see what comes up. I'm not searching for like a specific answer that I need to have, but it does feel like, and we're seeing it in the headlines right now, even today, as we're having this conversation, that not only is the United States changing, but we're also looking at whether it's the Panama Canal or what we're going to do with Mexico or Cuba or Greenland. I mean, so it feels like we're entering this like World War III. I don't know if they're going to exactly call it World War III, but it feels like all different countries are going to be getting involved in fights and who gets what and what does this look like. And so in other words, what we're seeing even right now, it feels like it amplifies and increases from that. So it feels like we're going to have more wartime. It does also seem to be that real estate, I get asked a lot about real estate in the stock market. And anytime I ask spirit about it, it's always like this.
Yeah.
And I always get, it depends on where you live. Now the stock market, that not so much, but the real estate, yes. But they've shown me more and more of the trend will be adults living together like friends, and more multi-generational families. So it feels like even the way that we live together is going to shift, where there will be more people living under one roof. And there will be some people that will want to opt out of some of the things that are coming, like digital currency that I've seen, that will want to go off and basically live off grid. And so I've seen these like tiny home villages that people are going to be making. And
small communities. I've heard about people forming these, living off the earth and planting and building more communities. I've heard
I'm
that.
hooked on YouTube videos about earth ships. Have you ever seen an earth ship?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Why files and earth ships? We're going to get you on these. So,
okay. Okay. No, that sounds really fascinating. Earth ships. So is it communities that like live in these like like little villages, and then they have their own little ecosystem kind of thing going. Is that what
So
they do?
sorta. So an earth ship is self-sustained home. So
Oh, okay.
inside the home, it will basically do all of the things it needs to do without relying on other systems. And we
Oh, see,
usually
that's an
have,
amazing advancement to
yes,
happen down the line. Yeah, that's incredible. See? So people are like freaking out, right? It's like these are some amazing advancements. And we need the discourse. We need the contrast, because that's what is the archer that pulls us back to shoot forward, to go into the new direction. Is, unfortunately, we haven't learned to do it without contrast and problems and conflict. Hopefully
yes,
we will.
yes.
Right.
One day, one day.
One day.
But the
Yeah.
earth ships are really interesting because they tend to use a lot of materials that were already once used. And they use a lot of used tires to build like the walls of what becomes the walls of these homes. And then a section of the house is usually all like vegetation where they're growing
Yeah.
their own food.
I love that.
They're amazing. So just look up earth ships on
I
YouTube.
will, because now I want to see what one looks like. No, that sounds really, really fascinating. And we were talking about the dismantling. I mean, it's in the astrology. That is why other countries are, the United States was always the most formidable, right? Like it was the powerhouse, and the power was not equal. And so what's happening is power dynamics are shifting. So there's going to be a lot more of that stuff going on. I am actually very, and I'm super liberal, right? So I'm like, I don't want to talk about politics because I have a lot of fire in my sign. So, and I'm a Gemini with a double Leo, so I'll get mad, right? And I don't want to be in that energy because I feel it. Like I'm so passionate about certain things, and I don't want that. I mean, yeah, I'll get clicked a lot more if I start talking like those kind of headlines, but I don't want to do that. That's not where my soul is telling me that is not where you're supposed to go. You're supposed to be more uplifting, have these kinds of conversations, introduce people, different people. Like that's like what my job is, like I am the introducer of ideas, of people to different ways of thinking, right? In a more healthy, higher frequency way. Because believe me, I could go that way and I would just be mad all the time. I would be mad, and I don't want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, true story.
Yeah.
Thinking about the astrology, so Saturn, Neptune, Aries, I've just kind of been sitting with it. And I had a recent conversation with my astrologer friend, Scott Tajirian, and it feels like there's going to be a lot of people going through identity crisis this year.
Yeah.
It feels like who am I? Why am I here? And Spirit, when I've channeled on it, has connected it to jobs and the change of employment. And the people that, and I've been there, where you walk into the room at a networking event and you're so excited to like hand out your business card because you're like, hi, I'm so-and-so and I work at this place. So this is what I do. And Spirit's like, yeah, we're going to have some problems with that because what people are doing for work now isn't necessarily what they're going to be doing or what they're going to be able to do depending on the industry. And that, ties directly into AI and becoming more efficient with AI. And they've also shown me while we're on AI that what we'll be able to treat and diagnose at home in terms of healthcare is going to shift. So that we will be able to have more power of diagnostics at home. Like I know there's some simple gadgets we can have now, but this feels more like we become the champion and ambassador of ourselves and our own health, and that we would have the tools at home to figure out. So whether it's like a prick of blood and then but then they show like almost going inside of a chamber that has like sound and light special frequencies. And some people, because I've said this before, people are like, that sounds like a med bed. I'm like, I don't even know what a med bed sounds like, but okay. So people have drawn some comparisons to that. So that feels like that in the energy and coming forward. But I've also seen new kinds of Ubers that are like big drones that you sit inside of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for more local travel. So instead of taking a helicopter, you would get in this thing that pulls up. It feels like your house when I've channeled on it. And then it goes up and it takes you and then it sets you back down. But it's not using the regular road. So I do think flying cars is legit.
Well, you know, that's very Uranus and Gemini, and Uranus is going into Gemini, and Gemini rules short travel, and Uranus is like, that's that energy. So I've heard astrologers talk about air travel changing dramatically when Uranus is in Gemini. So it's funny that you said that. It just made me think of that. So it'd be interesting. So if you guys hear, if this happens, you know, you heard it here first. All right.
Yeah. And so I think we'll be using different modes like that in our local communities.
Yeah.
But then more of the telepathy and virtual reality AI for like how we're communicating with people outside of our local communities. Because when you just mentioned travel, I just got the psychic hit of even the aviation system is going to drastically change. Meaning like it feels in the energy, it feels very, very heavy. And I know there's been, you know, different issues and, you know, we can all read about that in the news, but it feels like the future of it feels almost like a big boulder, a big rock, like a big dinosaur. So I think it will be one of the systems that will be overhauled or not available anymore. I remember hearing, I can't source where I heard this from, but someone had said that flying becomes something that only certain people do, and that it's for like certain situations or circumstances, but then not everyone would be flying, that it would be like reserved for certain people. So yeah, it just popped in as we were talking about aviation. Yeah.
Well, maybe that's one of the timelines that's possible, depending on what we do and what we demand as a, you know, collective, right? Because I was going to ask you about AI, so you tapped on that, and I was going to ask you about the oligarchs. You know, so there's the wealth has grown disparity between those uber rich and, you know, everybody else. It's like grown tremendously in the last decade. So what do you see about that whole, you know, the techno bros and all the billionaires? Like, they want to own everything. You know, they want to charge you for, you know, your water. They just want to own everything. Like, they don't want the government to own anything and get any kind of services. We have to pay them. What do you see about that?
Ooh, one of the things I've seen as I've channeled is we actually get back to a more simpler time.
Good.
Yeah, and I have chills coming up my legs as I say that aloud. Now I know that could stir people up to be like, what do you mean we're going back to simpler times? But it does feel like there's so many things that are dismantling. And so many things that are broken and not working, that we are going to be faced with you and me and each other and who we live near and what we're doing. And it makes me wonder if, and I haven't been shown it yet, but I wonder if there's some kind of black swan event that takes out the internet, takes out power grids, because that's what the visions look like, is like the aftermath after we like settle down and we're okay and we get over the initial shock, which feels much simpler. But that, based on where we're at today and getting me all the way over into that other vision, that would say to me that there would have to be some kind of event that happens. I have to be an event. Yeah, I've seen nuclear threat, but I haven't seen nuclear going off. And actually that came in a couple days ago, right before the headlines hit about Russia having a threat against parts of UK,
Ukraine.
Europe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you are one of the people that like connect with the ETs, or do you connect? That I've heard from many people who channel that alien dimension, that a nuclear event would never happen because they would never allow it to happen, because we're not the only planet in the solar system, and it would affect the solar system and other solar systems. So they wouldn't work. Like they would do something would happen. It would just, they would get ready to do it and it wouldn't work. Like it just couldn't happen. So I didn't know if you had that similar kind of feeling, that like that's the one area that they will step in if it looks like we're going too far. Mm-hmm.
I've heard reports of that in the past, of them stopping weapons that looked like they were going to be deployed, or getting closer to that. When I did get the download about the nuclear threat, there was another piece of it about galactics interfering so that it wouldn't go off. But it does also make me wonder. I keep a very loose eye on solar flares.
Yeah, we're having a big one right now. They're like huge, like one of the biggest solar storms, or G5 or something. And that is affecting that could knock out grids and technology and all that stuff. So yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we had some kind of solar flare that did actually take out power grids. Because it keeps like coming in the back of my mind of like, watch this, pay attention to this.
You're not the only person who said that, and you're not the only person who said watch this. And I'm from psychics to astrologers to people who are just sensitive. Like I've heard this many, many times. Yeah. So that is something to be, like we're so used to. I mean, Verizon, I heard somebody said Verizon went out for like a whole day, and people who have Verizon are like, I had no idea I used my phone as much as I did. And it's not to talk. It's just for everything. We use it now so much. So yeah, we would have to learn how to function like we used to. I mean, I remember.
I remember too. I had the rotary phone at my parents' house. I have to sit there and like click all the
Have you ever seen the video of the Gen Zers, the kids? They give them that phone and they're like, all right, now you try to figure out how to work it, and they're like pushing it, and they're like, I don't understand. How does it work? It's just hilarious. Yeah, there's just a whole different generation. Well, is there now what about like you said something about jobs and with the AI, and I want to go back to that. So do you think that people are going to find ways to kind of like reinvent themselves and come up with creative ways of like offering like, their unique gifts, like to make money now, if they can't companies anymore? Like, what do you see is going to happen with that?
I think on an individual level, we actually will have a lot of windows and a lot of doors open, and we will be able to create and do really incredible things on an individual level. So if that's the one thing that people hear today, I'd say it's going to be okay. You're going to be able to make it through this. I think the tighter you hold on to control, the harder this is going to be. But I do think that even if somebody were to lose their job and they had to figure out what to do next, I think most people will be resourceful. And I think they will come up with an idea that they want to try. Yeah. And I would say, try it, like go for it. How exciting. But if you get laid off or your job, changes into something else that you don't want to do, and you're forced to go back to the drawing table, that could be a part of that identity crisis of, well, who am I now? And I actually think that could be a really beautiful gift, because it gets us back to our own core self, our own energy, how amazing we actually are and what we can create just within ourselves. And I think I've seen just a lot of people over the years give their power away, their power away to people or people's opinions or, the news headlines that they're reading. So I think it could be a really abundant time if there are leaning into our creativity, and if we believe in opportunity and possibility and the universe working things out, and we can, I think it could be a really fruitful time. But I think we're also going to see the opposite of that. And it could be people in our own, friends and family circle.
Yeah.
But Spirit's been very clear that it is not our opportunity to carry them or to pick them up to try to convince them to do the work. Like, they either need to decide that they're going to do that inner work or not, but that's not up to us anymore to try to convince them to do it.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, because we do spend a lot of time worrying about other people and trying to change, and everybody's on their own journey. We're all going to get there eventually on our own. So you just gotta, you gotta take care of yourself right now. What do you think about mainstream media? What do you think is going to happen with mainstream media? Because I notice more and more people are going to YouTube or alternative ways to find the real stories, the real news, because we're not being told the full story. What do you think about that, mainstream media?
Eventually it will be gone.
Yeah, I have a feeling too. Yeah, that's one of the dismantling, I think, in the dismantling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I think it will go back to independent reporters and journalists and content creators, really on YouTube, I think, primarily. And I've also been seeing, quite frankly, more and more that people are saying, I don't even want to be on social media anymore. I don't want to look at it anymore.
Yeah.
So I think there's a real pull away from social media. Not just like, I'm going to take a 30-day break. Like, it's like, I don't want to be on it, right? So I think even like big social media platforms that we all use right now, I don't think they're going to be the same, because I think more and more people don't want to be on them.
Yeah.
But I do think YouTube, if I had to kind of look at all, and I'm not on TikTok because I've tuned into the energy of TikTok, and
I'm on it, but I don't keep my YouTube is where I want to build my platform, because I don't trust TikTok, and I just put I put the same kind of stuff out. If TikTok disappears, it's okay. But I feel the same way. There's something about that platform that doesn't feel stable to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So YouTube, out of all of them, feels to be the steadiest one out of all of them. So I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to talk about, because I can't believe we could keep going. We only have like a few minutes, but how do you, you have we'll talk about 2 of your own YouTube that you do, right? 2 of your own channels, or two shows that you do. And I want to talk about how people can work with you if they want to work with you.
Yeah, it's 2 micro podcasts on the same channel. They're each like 5 minutes long.
Oh, okay.
And one is called The Curious Question, which is just one question to sit with for the week to do some self-exploration.
I love
and
that.
The other one is called Books That Shift Us, where I take a book
that
self-help or spiritual that I love, and I do like a 5-minute discussion about the book and how to work with the book and apply what the book
I love that
to your own life. Yeah,
I gotta follow. I'm such a book nerd, so I gotta go check that one out. I love that.
Yeah, those ones come out on Thursdays, and The Curious Question comes out on Sundays.
Okay.
Yeah, and everything that I do is over on my website, and that's spiritandsparks.com, all spelled out, and I've got my socials and everything on there.
So do you do classes, community classes? Do you hold workshops? Do you see one-on-one? How do you like to work with people, or all 3?
Yeah, right now it's more group and classes, but I am developing something right now that is going to be a one-on-one experience. And so I'll probably put out information on that in the next few weeks. So anybody on my email list will get that alert.
Okay, good. Yeah. So join her email list. Yeah. Because I imagine, especially if you can connect with people who have passed over, you would get a lot of people that want to connect with their loved ones,
Well, and I would love to teach them how to fish, right? Instead of hand them the fish. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So I have a class, it's Mediumship 101.
Oh,
on
great.
my site, and it's on demand. They can take it immediately. And then the other one is angel messages and numbers. And then we have another one that
Oh,
is
I love that.
33 signs from the other side.
Oh, fun. Oh, those sound amazing. I love that. Well, I started having I've talked about it before, but my sister who passed away 3.5 years ago, I do this meditation. It's kind of a visualization I do every morning, and she started showing up about a year after she died, and I see her every morning, which is really cool. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It's great. I get to see her, and she was developmentally disabled, and she still shows up like that for me. I still need her to be who she was. Like, she hasn't changed that. Like, I know her spirit's not that, but Tony still shows up that way for me because I need her to, and I know she does it for me, Yeah. It's really cool though, that I get to see her every day. Yeah. Yeah. It's great. So I love that you teach people how to do that.
Yeah, because like I said, I'd rather teach them how to fish so they can do it as long as they need to, whenever they need to, and they don't have to rely on me.
Exactly.
They can connect whenever they want.
And think about how beautiful that is and how comforting that is. And I heard a psychic medium talking about that one day we're going to be that. We're going to be able to go to our frequency up so high that we are going to be able to meet our loved ones. And that's just so beautiful. I love it. Well, it has been such a pleasure having you, Dallisa. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was really great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate you having me on the show, and hopefully we get to do it again soon.
Yeah, and go check her out, spiritandspark.com. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and listening to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, creating the life you crave. And I'm wishing everyone a wonderful week filled with joy, abundance, and love. Peace.